In the uncharted regions of the Andromeda Galaxy, where starlight wove itself into the fabric of ancient nebulae, a solitary human expedition ship named Rizal drifted silently. The ship was a relic from Earth's early interstellar age, outwardly primitive compared to the sleek, crystalline designs of the galaxy's dominant empires. But its crew knew better. Captain Victor Hale, a man with weathered features and eyes that carried the weight of countless voyages, sat in the command chair. Before him, the holographic display projected a scene of chaos. The Centurion Confederacy's fleet, once thought invincible, was being obliterated by the encroaching Void Heralds. These entities were not a civilization but a phenomenon, a self-aware force born from the entropy of dying galaxies. They consumed everything, stars, planets, and even the will of those who resisted. "We're next," said Lieutenant Anders, the ship's weapons officer. His voice was steady, but the tightness in his jaw betrayed his fear. Victor leaned forward, his fingers interlocking as he studied the display. "Not yet," he replied. "They haven't learned what humanity has to offer." Anders frowned. "With respect, sir, what can we offer that the Centurions or the Zelvrans couldn't? Their technology surpasses ours in every measurable way." Victor smiled faintly. "It's not about technology. It's about understanding." The crew didn't fully grasp what he meant, but they trusted him. Humanity's history was marked by moments of insurmountable odds: wars, plagues, environmental collapses. Each time, they adapted, innovated, and endured. This time would be no different. As the Resolve approached the Centurion system, the devastation was almost incomprehensible. Entire planets had been reduced to lifeless spheres of crystalline perfection, their ecosystems obliterated, and their inhabitants converted into mindless drones. Yet amidst the destruction, there was a beacon. It was an ancient Terran signal, originating from the ruins of a long-abandoned human outpost. The crew traced it to the barren moon of Kavari's 4. "Why would there be a human outpost here?" Anders asked. "It's not an outpost," Victor said, a note of reverence in his voice. "It's a sanctuary." The Resolve landed on the moon, and the crew disembarked. They found themselves in a vast underground chamber filled with relics from Earth's past: steam engines, printing presses, and telescopes. In the center of the room stood a simple wooden table, upon which rested a cup of water. Dr. Eleanor Chase, the ship's science officer, approached the table cautiously. Her instruments began to beep wildly. "This water is perfect," she said, her voice trembling. "Every molecule is aligned with absolute precision. It defies natural laws." Victor nodded. "This is what humanity discovered centuries ago, a way to manipulate reality itself. But we learned a hard lesson. Power without wisdom is destruction." Before Eleanor could respond, the chamber trembled. The Void Heralds had detected their presence. Their crystalline ships materialized above the moon, and a voice echoed in the crew's minds, a voice ancient and cold. "Surrender to perfection. Join the eternal order." Victor stepped forward, unafraid. "We've faced annihilation before," he said, addressing the unseen entity. "And we learned that perfection is an illusion. Life thrives in imperfection. It's the chaos, the struggle, that drives growth." The Void Heralds didn't respond with words. Instead, they unleashed their power, a beam of energy that threatened to obliterate the chamber. But as the beam struck, the cup of perfect water shattered. In its place, a single drop of rain emerged, suspended in the air. The rain began to fall, not just in the chamber but across the entire moon, creating an atmosphere where none had existed. The sterile, lifeless rock became a vibrant ecosystem within moments. The crew watched in awe as the Void Heralds hesitated for the first time. Victor turned to his crew. "Prepare to transmit. The galaxy needs to see this." The Centurion delegation and Tekler gazed at the holographic display of Earth's orbital ring, where colossal structures hung in the void like celestial artwork. They had been told these were primitive by humanity's own standards, an assertion that seemed to mock the very concept of primitive. Even their most advanced civilizations had nothing like this. The air aboard the orbital station crackled with tension as Dr. Chen led them to what she called the Hall of Memory. The hall wasn't a simple archive or museum. It was alive. As they stepped inside, the walls shimmered with images that seemed to breathe and shift. The first display showed a vast desert, its sand swirling in an eternal storm. "This is Mars," Chen explained, her voice calm yet charged with significance. "Before humanity's rise, it was barren. Our ancestors reshaped it, not to conquer, but to learn." The delegation watched mesmerized as the sands coalesced into a vibrant ecosystem, only to be consumed by flames. "But we failed," Chen said, her voice dipping. "Mars was our first great mistake, a hubris that cost us dearly. We realized then that reshaping worlds isn't the same as understanding them." The hologram shifted again, showing human colonies among the stars, thriving, expanding, and collapsing. Tekler, whose analytical tentacles quivered in thought, finally asked, "Why show us your failures?" "Because failure is the greatest teacher," Chen replied. "We rose, fell, and rose again, each time learning more about ourselves and the universe. Our advancements are not a testament to our brilliance, but to our resilience." General Williams interrupted, his gruff voice cutting through the awe. "We don't want you to repeat our mistakes. That's why we're here. The Void Heralds are coming. They're not just a threat. They're a reflection, a dark mirror of what civilizations become when power outpaces wisdom." As he spoke, the station shuddered and alarms blared. On the display, a patch of the void between stars darkened, twisting as though the fabric of space itself recoiled. "They're closer than we thought," Chen whispered. The delegation was rushed to the station's command center, where vast panels displayed the encroaching darkness of the Void Heralds. These entities, neither wholly machine nor entirely organic, were relics of a civilization that had sought perfection and paid the ultimate price. Now, they sought to impose that perfection upon the galaxy. "They are not invincible," Williams said, his tone resolute. "We've fought them before, but we learned that you don't win by matching their power. You win by showing them something they can't comprehend." "What is that?" Tekler asked, her voice tinged with both fear and hope. Chen stepped forward, holding the same simple cup of water from the Hall of Memory. "This," she said, as though it were the most obvious thing in the world. "Imperfection?" Before the delegation could scoff, Chen poured a drop of liquid into the cup. The water shimmered and danced, its molecules rearranging themselves in a fractal pattern that defied logic. "This is humanity's greatest strength," she continued. "Not our technology, not our power, but our ability to embrace the flawed, the chaotic, and the unpredictable." The Centurion ambassador, Rilen, stared at the cup, his mind racing to grasp the significance. "You're saying imperfection is a strategy?" "It's more than that," Chen replied. "It's a philosophy. The Void Heralds seek to impose order, to crystallize existence into something static and lifeless. But life isn't static. It thrives in chaos, in growth, in the unexpected." The hologram shifted again, showing the Herald's past conquests, entire systems transformed into crystalline monuments of sterile perfection. "This is what happens when civilizations seek power without understanding," Chen said. "The Void Heralds are not a foe to be defeated. They are a test, a lesson." As the Void Heralds approached, humanity's orbital defenses remained dormant. The Centurion delegation was baffled. "Why aren't you preparing for battle?" Rilen demanded. "Do you mean to let them destroy us all?" Chen smiled faintly, her gaze steady. "We've been preparing for this battle for millions of years, but not in the way you think." Across the galaxy, humanity's hidden technologies began to activate. Not weapons or fleets, but libraries, archives, and ancient artifacts. Primitive steam engines on distant worlds revealed equations encoded in their exhaust patterns. Simple tools like hammers and wheels demonstrated principles of cosmic harmony. Entire civilizations began to see humanity's hidden messages woven into the fabric of their own histories. The Centurion delegation, still aboard the orbital station, watched in awe as their own cultural artifacts, long dismissed as relics, began to glow with ancient human designs. "We've been teaching you for centuries," Jim revealed. "Not directly, but through the things you dismissed as primitive. Now, you must take the final step." The Void Heralds arrived in Earth orbit, their crystalline ships radiating an aura of malevolent perfection. They sent their message across the galaxy: surrender to order, embrace perfection. Humanity's response was a single broadcast, a simple image of the cup of water, now filled with a swirling, chaotic mixture of colors. Beneath it, a message: life is not perfect, and that is its greatest strength. The Void Heralds hesitated, a first in their long history. Their sensors detected something they couldn't understand. Civilizations across the galaxy embracing their own imperfections, their own growth. The Heralds had encountered weapons, shields, and fleets before, but they had never encountered this. The Void Heralds, built to enforce perfect order, faltered as they encountered something entirely alien. Chaos embraced as strength. Their ships, crystalline monuments to flawless design, emitted a dull hum that grew dissonant. The galaxy itself seemed to push back against them, as billions of civilizations, each imperfect and unique, united under a shared revelation. On the orbital station, the Centurion delegation was stunned. How can an idea be more powerful than their technology? Teclair murmured. Chun gestured toward the swirling chaos displayed on the command center screens. Because ideas shape reality, the Heralds impose their will by turning everything into static perfection. But life, true life, thrives in unpredictability, and the more they encounter it, the more unstable they become. As the Herald fleet loomed closer, humanity activated its last line of defense. Not fleets of warships or towering weapons, but the resonance network. Invisible pulses emanated from hidden nodes across the galaxy, broadcasting the collective imperfections of every civilization humanity had ever touched. The Herald ships began to crack. Their perfection was their weakness. The tiniest flaw could spread like a virus through their crystalline structures. The Centurion ambassador, Rilen, watched in awe as fractures spread across the Herald's vast fleet. "You've turned their own nature against them," he said. William smirked, arms crossed. "That's the human way. We don't fight by their rules. We make new ones." The Heralds unleashed their countermeasure, a wave of pure order that threatened to crystallize Earth itself. But humanity had anticipated this. On the surface of the planet, billions of humans stood united, broadcasting their collective will. The resonance network amplified their voices, creating a chaotic symphony that clashed with the Herald's wave. In the heart of the Herald fleet, their prime intelligence, an entity known as the Architect, began to unravel. For eons, it had been the embodiment of perfect order, guiding the Heralds in their quest to impose their will on the galaxy. Now it faced something it couldn't comprehend. On board the orbital station, Chun turned to Teclair. "We need you to deliver the final message. They won't understand it coming from us." Teclair hesitated, her many eyes flickering with uncertainty. "What can I possibly say to beings beyond comprehension?" Chun placed a hand on her shoulder. "Tell them the truth. Tell them what life truly is." Reluctantly, Teclair stepped forward, her voice trembling but resolute. She addressed the Herald fleet directly, her words amplified by the resonance network. "You seek to perfect the galaxy, but perfection is an illusion. Life is chaos. Growth comes from failure, from change, from imperfection. By imposing your order, you destroy the very essence of existence." The Architect hesitated, its crystalline form pulsing with uncertainty. For the first time in millennia, it questioned its purpose. The fractures in its fleet spread further, as civilizations across the galaxy joined the resonance network, broadcasting their own imperfections. The Herald fleet began to collapse, its once flawless ships breaking apart into shimmering fragments. But the architect, now exposed, sent one final message. Why do you resist order? Does chaos not lead to destruction? Humanity's reply was simple. Chun stepped forward, her voice carrying the weight of countless generations. Chaos leads to creation. Without it, the universe would be stagnant, lifeless. We don't fear imperfection. We embrace it. The architect's crystalline form shattered, releasing a wave of energy that rippled across the galaxy. But instead of destruction, it brought renewal. Worlds long trapped in the Herald's sterile grasp began to bloom with life once more. Civilizations that had been enslaved by order found themselves free to grow and evolve. On Earth, the resonance network powered down, its purpose fulfilled. The Centurion delegation watched in silent awe as the galaxy began to heal. You've not just defeated them, Rilen said. You've changed everything. Williams nodded, his expression solemn. This wasn't just a battle. It was a lesson for them and for us. The galaxy doesn't need perfection. It needs hope. As the orbital station returned to calm, Chun turned to the delegation. Now, you see why we hit our true strength. It was never about technology or power. It was about understanding what it means to be alive. The Centurions left Earth with a new sense of purpose, their minds forever changed by what they had witnessed. Across the galaxy, civilizations began to embrace their own imperfections, finding strength in their diversity. And humanity? They returned to their quiet vigilance, knowing that their greatest battles were not fought with weapons, but with ideas.